Hey everyone, Elizabeth here with Healthy Nuggets, where we get healthy one nugget at a time. And welcome back to my YouTube channel and back to the Healthy Nuggets talk show. So today we are going to be talking about financial health as well as real estate. So I have my personal amazing real estate agent with me, Miss Shana Rivers, and she's going to go ahead and give us a little education on how we can be financially well, as well as how can we do real estate in a smart way. So Shana, how long have you been in real estate?
I'm in my 7th year in real estate, but I don't count. I count that I've been in real estate so much longer because of the home that I grew up in. My mom's a real estate, I'm not a real estate agent, but she's an interior designer.
Oh, cool.
So literally like my whole life.
So you saw like the other side of it.
The other side of it, the decor, the pretty, the mansions, all that stuff.
Wow.
Those are things that I grew up with.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been in real estate my entire life.
Right. So what made you finally decide 7 years ago, you know what, I'm going to do it, I'm going to become a real estate agent?
It just wouldn't go away. And
like the feeling or the desire?
Yeah, like I would literally just look at houses all the time.
Yeah.
I already dealt with customers. I love public. I love people. So it was just there.
Like
it was just there. I was like, I get to combine two things that I love, houses and people. And it just worked together,
So was there like a defining moment though, when 7 years ago you're finally, because you know how like exactly like you have those desires or you have this inclination, whether you feel like it's God, the Holy Spirit, whatever, and you're like, today's the day. Like, was there something that clicked where you're like, all right, I'm gonna
let me
do it?
tell you, about 2003, I decided I was going to do real estate school.
Okay.
Something traumatic happened in the real estate industry. 2 agents were killed. And then from that moment, I was like, I'm unenrolling. I'm not going to real estate school. I'm not going to die selling houses, like literally. So that was just another fear that came in. Because one, you know, you're dealing with public, you're dealing with just a commission-based job. And I was like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to die doing that. Fast forward to 2013, where we bought our second home. I loved my first agent when we bought our first house when I was 23. Then moving forward to 2013, I loved my agent then as well, but that really triggered like, Shana, you really could be doing this. Like you could really be doing this.
Yeah.
And that really brought up the passion again. Like it really reignited.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm doing it this time. Yeah. And so I just said, okay, forget the fear, forget everything that happened. That's not my story. I'm going to move forward. Okay. And then I did it.
So from being a real estate agent and selling properties, what has that taught you about being financially well and taking care of your finances and having good financial health?
As a real estate agent, something that's a big pet peeve of mine is how many people don't know their financial health. They have no idea where they are. They literally will call me and they say, I want to buy a house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's good. You want to buy a house.
Yeah.
But do you know where your credit is? No. Do you have any savings? No.
Yeah.
Do you know what buying a house entails?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like those people are not ready. So I love to nurture people, and I will help them get on the journey to readiness. I'll help them, I'll coach them through, teach them, okay, this is what you need to do, this is what numbers you need to look at, this is where you need to be regarding your debt to income ratio, your credit score, these are all the things. So something that I've learned is that there are so many people, especially in my community, that are not aware of their finances.
Yeah.
They only see what other people have and think that they can do that just because, and they compare themselves a lot to what other people have.
Yeah.
And they don't know that person's circumstances. They don't know the hoops they went through.
Exactly.
Maybe the lies they told. Yeah. You know, the different things that they've had to encounter, or the struggles that those people face, and the things that they had to overcome to get the homes that they're in and to be in a place where they are. So one thing that I've learned that stands out to me in real estate is know yourself. You know, it's not all about what happens on the external, but what's happening internal, what's happening behind the scenes. I can buy any car I want in Atlanta. I can buy any house I want in Atlanta with the right paperwork and the right documentation. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For the flex, you know what I'm saying? But let's talk about what you're looking like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Let's make sure you're financially well behind the scenes, because it doesn't look good to be able to have a nice home and a nice car if all you can do is work to maintain it.
Exactly.
It's easy to get things, but it's difficult to maintain it if you're trying to go above and beyond what's supposed to be for you.
So what would you say are some of the first financial steps for those of us who want to buy a home, especially for first-time home buyers who don't know anything, because it's been a learning process for me as well, because it's like if you've never done it, you really just don't know. And it's sad because like you don't learn that kind of stuff in school. It's not like they're teaching you like, here's how to get your credit right and save, and here's how to buy a property. Like you learning all these math equations, like how's this gonna help me?
I have never used geometry a day in my life.
So a lot of us, we really are ignorant, for the lack of better words, just because, especially if you haven't really gone through that process with your family.
Yeah.
So for those of us who are wanting to buy property, whether now or later, what are some of the first financial steps that we should be doing to prepare for that?
One thing that I like to tell people and to ask people is, would you loan you several $1,000s?
Yeah.
Would you trust you with $300,000?
Yeah.
And normally they're like, absolutely not. Right? So now we're asking a bank to get ready to give us this amount of money, or this is what we expect.
Yeah.
And the first thing they want to do is see, are you responsible? Do you pay your bills? And a lot of people, like I've talked to people, they have never looked at their credit report.
Wow.
But they do know there's things on there. They do know that they've received no's. They do know that they get higher interest rates. But so long we just are so happy to have a yes, and we suffer with high interest rate car notes.
Yeah.
We suffer with high interest rate credit cards. We're irresponsible. So that's going to be the very first step I tell people is know your credit. Are you responsible with your credit? You know what I mean?
It kind of shows you your track record.
It's like,
it gives other
it's a
people,
resume. It's a resume of
like what you've been
your
doing.
financial health. How have you been doing this? Because you're asking these people to give you $300,000 and they don't know you.
Yeah, so they have to have something to look at.
They're looking at this and they're going to see late, 90-day late, repo. They're looking at all this stuff and they're saying, can we trust this person to pay us back?
Right.
So the first thing I tell everyone is make sure that you are showing responsible credit payment history.
Okay.
Don't just think, all this stuff is in collections. And I don't know where we got the 7-year rule from. People go off of that for real. Oh, this is going to fall off my credit. It's been on there for 10 years. It's still there. It just got resold and resold and resold. And you still have people contacting you about that debt that you created when you were 21. Why? Because I was there.
Yeah.
I did that. I had a 400 and something credit score, but I took the financial responsibility to set aside time and say, we're going to get this together. We're not living like this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm tired of getting the high interest rates. I'm tired of getting rejected. I'm tired of spending more money when I don't have to.
Right. Yeah. So is your credit more important than having no debt or having tons of money saved up? Because a lot of people, when I hear people talk about having a house, a lot of people are just like, I just got so much money saved up. And then some people are like, I just got to get my credit right. And then some people are just like, I got to pay off all my student loans and all my car debt. And I do think, in my mind, the way I've been looking at it is like, try to have a balance, like try to balance it out. But is there one that's better than the other in reference to buying a home?
There's not. Generally, you want to have a good credit score, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're being responsible with your credit, then your credit score will ultimately be higher, okay? When a lender goes to look at your credit and to look at your overall buying or purchase power, they're looking at your credit. They're looking at your income. They're looking at your debt. They're looking at your assets, and they're looking at your liabilities.
Right.
All of this plays a part equally
in their decision to
loan you money. So you can't show up to the lender like, okay, my credit score is a 580 and I need down payment assistance and I've been on my job for 6 months. No, because they're going to want to see, can you repay me? Can you repay me in this job? You just got it for 6 months and then you weren't working before then. So they want to see that financial.
It's a lot of history that they're looking at.
Exactly. And so they're looking at an overall picture. So it's not just one thing. Credit plays a part of it, but your income plays a part of it as well. So does your debt. And so do your assets. And if you're paying child support, all of those things are counted against you as a debt. So they look at your DTI, and you want your DTI, your debt, all of your debt divided into your income. You want that to be as low as possible. And when I say low as possible, you want to be in the 40%. So when you take
having debt or not.
Yeah, so when you divide all of your debt into your income, you really want it to be in the 40%.
Yeah. Okay.
40%. Anything above that, you have people that go up to 55%, but that just means you afford less, because what they're doing is they're factoring in how much of your income is going to go to your mortgage, and they don't want you to go beyond a certain amount, because then you'll be they know they'll be last on the totem pole to get paid.
Yeah.
So they want to make sure that they're protected. And when you have lenders that will deny you, it's not because they don't want to give you a loan. That's their job. Like, we want to sell you a house. We want you to get a mortgage, but also it's their responsibility to protect the interest of the bank that is giving that money.
Yeah.
So often we have people that might get an attitude with us because of the loan or no. They're doing their job. You didn't do yours.
Yeah.
You didn't do yours. And now you want other people to suffer the consequences of your bad attitude because you didn't do yours. So when people manage and take hold of their finances and prepare properly to buy a house, then we're good to go.
Yeah.
So
what are your thoughts when it comes to the kind of debate of people saying it's better to own property and buy a house, but you're going to have this huge mortgage that you got to pay off, so you have this lump sum of debt, and people who are like, no, you should just rent, and you should just have all these concierge services, and you should just, pay $2,000 a month, and then you don't have all this debt on you. Like, there's pros and cons that people try to come at with both. So as a real estate agent, and I'm sure in your past at some point you also rented.
Yes.
What is your opinion, educated opinion on that, and what do you see as the pros and cons of people like kind of going back and forth of like, should I own, should I rent? Like, considering that they have good credit, considering that they don't have a lot of debt. Like, let's say they're in good standing to buy a house, but they're just like, is it smarter for me to keep renting? Is it good for me to have a $300,000 mortgage? Like,
I feel like that's a personal preference.
Okay.
I see some people and I say, your lifestyle, you probably just need to rent. That's fine. You want to do this. You want to party. You want to travel. You don't even know if you want to be here.
Yeah.
And some of those same conversations that I've had, they just turned into investors in the city. So they would buy a property and they're out and they're like, hey, Shana, get me a new tenant, in my place, because we're renting it out. So you can use it as an income opportunity. But I don't feel like everyone needs to own.
Yeah.
I really don't. Like, even as a real estate agent, I feel like some people, that's just not their thing. They don't want the responsibility of ownership. They may be single. For me, my main reason for even wanting to purchase property was stability for my children.
Yeah.
Growing up, I moved about 15 times.
Yeah.
I never was able to keep the same group of friends, even in a whole different state. So that was my top priority. You want them to really
feel like they had a home and they
family.
Have friends and it's stable and this is home.
Stability was my number one reason. Not only that, is having real estate property is one of the top wealth generating tools in America.
Come on.
So literally I've seen people purchase properties at $80,000 in 2 or 3 years, turn around and sell it for $200,000
through like renovations and things like that.
Not necessarily.
Or just
it
the
just
market
depends on the market. If you bought a property in 2008, you could have got a little mini mansion for $180. Now it's well at $350 or above. Wow. If you're selling that right now in this market, that money is coming back to you. When I work with my sellers, I had a seller that they walked away from the closing table with $320,000 cash.
Yeah. Wow.
So generating wealth for your family, for your bloodline, that's one of the top ways. Real estate, land investments. They're not making any more of that.
Yeah.
So
that's a good, I wanted to also ask you that when it comes to, because I recently have been hearing people also start talking about land more, especially because there's just so much going on in the world, and people want to feel like not only do they own a building, like a home, but they want to own a lot of land, because then they can kind of do what they want, depending on, the restrictions of that area.
Yes.
So as a real estate agent, do you think that, again, that's like a personal preference, or is there one better than the other? If someone is like, okay, yeah, I could buy an investment property and make money off of it, or I could buy a piece of land and then I can do whatever I want. Like,
To me, it just depends on your resources.
Okay.
If you're gonna buy land, land is very expensive right now. Just because of the time, and they see the need for it. And there's not a lot of it. There's no land falling. There's
God's not like, here's some more land right here.
Land. Let me put out some more land. They're not making it anymore. So
it sounds so funny to hear that, but it's true. Like,
they're not making it anymore. So it's a good thing to purchase if you can get a hold of it and you have a plan for it.
Okay.
Because now if you're trying to build a home, a lot of people are like, we'll put all these families on our land, if we ever get in a pandemic again. It's a lot of that happening.
Yeah.
But I want to see somebody actually do it.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to see them do it and have the resources to do it. Because that's the big thing. You can buy land, but do you have the resources? Is it, like you were saying, are there restrictions?
Yeah.
Does the government have restriction on this property? I have a client literally today, we were just talking about, we were looking at a 43-acre plot of land on Friday, and this land has a house on it. And it's a really nice renovated home, but 33 acres of that has a lumber restriction. They can't do anything with it. All they can do is trim up the land. So they think, 33 acres, I'm about to build my little area. I'm about to do this, but there's conservation restrictions. Sometimes there's different easements and things like that are involved in all of that, or you can't do certain things. So you just have to know the land that you're buying and then have the resources, because not only are we talking about just building it in a community, but now you have to get an architect. You have to make sure the land can be developed on, because there's undeveloped land, there's developed land that you cannot, they have no access to the city now. Is there water for a well? The type of life, can I get electricity out here? So you might find deals, but you have to know all the aspects of that piece of land that you're purchasing.
So it's a lot that can go into it.
It's a lot more than
buying a house.
I'm just buying land.
Yeah.
It
sounds good.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds good until you have to pay an architect to design it.
Yeah.
And then you want all of this, or it may come with a size, like, you can only put a house this size on this land. And you're like, but all this land is mine. Well, there's only so much you can do with it. There's still restrictions. We think that it's free for all. It's not all the time.
So credit, right? You want to know what your credit is. Look up what is your credit score, what is going on, how can you get it to a better place, work on your debt, figure out how you can get a master plan to get that debt down. Make sure that you're putting some type of savings away.
Yes.
And I always talk about on my channel, like, I started with $5. Like, I just was like, this feels comfortable for me, because in my mind I was like, how am I gonna save?
How am I gonna save?
Just started with $5, and then I just kept building from there. So we've kind of talked about those starter things that people can start doing, not just for real estate and not just for buying property, but just in general, to have good financial health and be good stewards. But when it comes to building wealth and someone saying, you know what, Shana, I want to buy property. I want to actually make money and profit off of having a piece of property, what would be like your number one tip or your number one advice for someone who wants to start building wealth when it comes to real estate?
One, I want to go back to what you said about saving. Let me start there, because there are ways to purchase property without income. There are ways. We're not going to go into all of that, but there are different ways. You can research them. You can reach out to me further for more information. But saving money, that's a big key, because all of this, you do need money, okay? And I think that when you said the $5, that's really good, because you have to start somewhere. So many of us have adjusted to a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
But what happens when things hit? Like when this Corona hit, like, I just started doing my own dipping SNS. I started doing my own hair. Like, it was just things that I did.
You gotta pivot and shift.
That you have to do to build and to get to a healthier place. But I feel like if you're wanting to invest in things like that, you have to figure out the avenue that's going to work best for you.
Okay.
Right? And that does take sitting down with a real estate consultant, talking to me, talking to whoever, whatever agent, financial person that's in your life that can help you determine, because you need to figure out how much can I afford to spend out of my pocket first. Because there are properties, and one of the big things that I'm on right now is duplexes. Getting the duplex, renting both sides out. Maximizing, doubling your income, making the property look nice. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be in Atlanta, in the city. There are people that want to live in Winder. There are people that want to live in Covington. There are other places where there are deals out there still, where you can be making money and building your income to come to the city where you really want to be, or you know, whatever it is for your goal. So I think that each individual person's need is gonna vary based upon their financial ability.
Yeah. So how can people contact you if they want to learn more, whether it's investment properties, if they're just trying to get started, like you say, like they're just like, I don't even know where to start.
Right.
What is the best way for them to get in contact with you to start that consultation?
So I'm on YouTube. And it's Shana Rivers.
Which she does have some amazing videos. I be watching her videos. That's actually one of the ways I started learning is through your YouTube videos, and you interview like mortgage lenders, just all types of people.
Yeah.
So what is the name of your channel?
Shana Rivers, and that's it. You
Okay.
can find me there. You can email me, Shana Rivers. No, not Shana Rivers. The Atlanta Home Experts at gmail.com. That's my one that I give out to people.
Okay.
But since I started it,
and then
Shana
Instagram.
Rivers 25. And on Instagram, I am my realtor, Shana Rivers.
Okay.
If you want to reach out to me there. And from there, there's like a link tree that has all the other things if you want to set up a consultation, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome.
So, yeah. That is that.
And I always like to ask at the end of my interviews for my talk show because again, it can be a lot of information. So if there's one thing, like I always say, what is the one healthy nugget that you want people to remember or take away from everything that we just talked about? If they forget everything else, what would be the one thing that you would want them, that one healthy nugget you would want them to take away?
I would want you to never compare yourself to the next person. Always shoot with what is best for you, and go for bettering yourself and becoming better than you were yesterday. It's so much around us. It's so much fake around us. You know what I'm saying? And it gets easy to start comparing yourself to different people. We're on social media, what they're doing, what they're not doing. Oh, I'm not good enough. I don't have this. I don't look like this. I'm not shaped like this. Listen, just be better than you were yesterday.
Amen.
Just be better than you were yesterday, and do what's comfortable for you and what's best for you and your family and your situation. And just never try to compare yourself to anybody else.
Amen.
Except to get better and to grow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Healthy Nuggets Talk Show. I hope you guys took some amazing little healthy nuggets and tidbits from this episode, all about financial health, building wealth, and having real estate. So if you guys need an amazing real estate in Atlanta, make sure that you contact Shana Rivers. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you comment below. Let us know what you learned. Let us know what you took away. And if you want to see part 2 of learning about financial health, building wealth, and real estate, comment below, and we'll make sure to bring Shana Rivers back on. And make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.